that.
No, there isn't. I can speak on behalf of Headlines Today and our network. That doesn't happen. But I want Bharat Bhushan to answer this question, because people watching this broadcast will want to know, do Indian journalists engage in the same sort of tactics that the British tabloid press does?
Well, they may not be hacking phones, but they do sting operations. Your channel does it, where you take hidden cameras and, it's almost entrapment. People do that. Once that happens, it becomes a big scandal. People, there's outrage and they say it shouldn't be done and there should be self-regulation, but it happens all the time. But the more important question is, are media bosses, whether they're owners or whether they're editors, are they any different here? How is their success judged? Their success is judged how closely they share the views of the establishment. There's an editor who actually did his autobiography, which was entitled, Mr. Editor, how close are you to the Prime Minister? Or how well do you know the Prime Minister? That's how you are judged. So what kind of people move up the editorial hierarchy? Who becomes an editor? There is a process of socialization through which only those who broadly agree with the establishment become editors. Only those who are close to the establishment become newspaper owners. I mean, this is a fact of life.
Those are candid admissions you're making.
Absolutely. No. I'm saying by and large, that's the dominant tendency. Okay, this is what I call the structural corruption of Indian media. Structurally, it corrupts you and makes you into something quite different. There's of course entrepreneurial corruption, where people sort of are acting on their own and are corrupt and using dubious means and so on and so forth. Dubious means here are not used by journalists so much as by the establishment. You'll find is the establishment which taps phones, and somehow those transcripts get leaked to certain individuals. There are corporates who do research on their rivals, and somehow that appears as an investigative story. So that this incident in England is a wake-up call, I don't buy that at all. I think people are very comfortable here with corporates. They're very comfortable here with the establishment, and you really need to take a distance from all these and have a different kind of journalism.
Do you think that beneath all this coziness and this, the lure of the TV cameras, there's a huge scam, maybe waiting to explode in all our faces?
No, firstly, I don't want to talk to the viewers. I want to talk to all the journalists that are watching. You get into this periodic self-flagellation. Every time something like this comes, then, of course, channels like yours and many other channels, and people like Nalini Singh never lose an opportunity to then strike where it needs to be struck. I think the issue is not that. I think the issue is not how you professionally socialize with politicians, because that's your job. The issue is, do you have an institutional framework of ethical standards? You've constantly said that we can ourselves self-regulate. Whatever little attempts you've made in the last 2 years, I don't think they've been very impressive. Yes, there is an intent. There is a little thing that comes scrolling on your television saying if there's any content that is, malicious, malified, derogatory, please complain. But beyond that, there is nothing. We have actually used that mechanism. Somebody has been hauled up, paid a fine, and then gone back to that same set of malpractice. Because, from the business point of view, it pays better to do this kind of malified action than to actually, be ethically controlled and regulated. So you really have to take a hard look. You can't bell the cat on your own. You have to look at it together. And if you're doing the business of self-regulation, then you need really a very strong, much more stronger independent mechanism in which all of you will have to be part
Lord
of.
Desai, sitting on the outside, what's your sense of the comparison between the Indian media and the British media? And do you believe this scandal in Britain is a huge wake-up call for the Indian media as well, sir?
The Indian media is far too tame compared to British media. Indian media never ever take on and attack the establishment. They, Radia tapes where, Radia's phone was hacked by the government. And still no channel has held government to account as to who authorized the hacking of those tapes, who released those tapes, why haven't we got all the tapes. All the newspapers in the media, they may think they are corrupt, but they are pussycats compared to a tabloid like Sana News of the World or Daily Mail. This is we're far too deferential, far too worshipping at the altar of the executive.